the piano education world is all about taking the child and helping the child get that fire within, get that sense of self-agency, self-efficacy, self-esteem.
This clip is from the PianoInspires podcast, Season 3, Episode 1, featuring Randy Faber with host Jennifer Snow. We would like to thank Piano Adventures for sponsoring this episode.
With the Teacher Atlas, get online access to a complete digital library of Piano Adventures method books and supplements, plus interactive flashcards, technique videos, audio tracks, annotation tools, teacher guides, and more. It's a virtual Faber bookshelf at your fingertips, plus all the support to help you teach effectively. Learn more at pianoadventures.com/atlas.
What we do on the podcast, we love starting at the earliest moments of when music touched you.
Oh, yeah. It's interesting that you say the earliest moments when music touched me, as opposed to when did you start lessons?
Let's hope they're the same things, but they probably
they're
aren't.
not. And I think that goes right to the heart of piano teaching, right? How do we get that precipitating event in a student's life that sparks and ignites that, the excitement and the kind of like the upward climb towards the aesthetics, right?
Yes.
And sometimes it's just a perfunctory scheduling thing to be in piano, but it's up to the educator to make that the spark so it comes to life.
Absolutely.
There's I guess, we always talk about intrinsic and extrinsic motivations. And so what we're talking there, of course, is that intrinsic motivation, that spark that comes from within.
Yes.
That then the student drives themselves up with the surrounding help, with their coaches and teachers and parents, and so to speak.
Yeah,
but it is so different than if it's only externally motivated.
Right. And it's the fanning of that, isn't it? It's like every child has that.
Yeah. If you can bring it out, you could spark it. It's almost like having the child realize that there's that aspiration mode. And I think we can generalize too. We get in our world of piano and piano study, but really the piano education world is all about taking the child and helping the child get that fire within, get that sense of self-agency, self-efficacy, self-esteem, such that they are ready and working and moving towards their own striving and thriving in the arts and whatever kind of artistic aspect they're going to move into. I mean, sciences or whatever, there's the artistic element. Right. So we're trying to awaken that artist within, I think, in the entire community, not just in our own domain of piano.
I love that, the artist within, because that's in everyone. And really that idea of artist citizenship and thinking about healthy communities and the role of music study and music cultivation within individuals, because it makes for healthier societies, more cohesive societies.
Yeah.
And we look at the times we live in and how important music and music experience is for all learners.
Well, you can think about, the fact of that arts, or the aspiration towards the beauty and the goodness and the godliness. I think that's all aligned similarly with the arts. And so to have that upward vision allows one to align their whole life in a harmonious relationship with the world. And what I think happens to individuals who don't get that fire within, sometimes there's a sense of resentment of being an outsider. They're not invited in by the life participants. And it's the big they that do these things, right? And they're on the outside and, they build businesses, they lead politics. But when you have that artist within, then it says, I'm a participant in life and I can contribute and I'm part of that positive flow.
Yeah, I like to think about that concept of belonging is you belong when you participate.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, and so it's exactly what you just articulated, that if I am participating, I feel as I belong.
It's interesting if you think about anything, whether it's even a house activity, a car, friends, or whatever, when you contribute to an endeavor, when you add your own creativity into the endeavor, that's when you have that sense of owning that endeavor. So then it's not just something that's outside you're separated from, but you envelop that because you've contributed and created.
That's
And
right.
that's the essence of art, right? Is to be able to contribute and create.
So earliest moments.
Earliest moment. Back to your question. You see how good I was at
You
dodging that
are.
question? I had the good fortune of having piano lessons taught in by school. I went to a Christian school in Grand Rapids, and the music teacher was so kind enough to offer free lessons to everybody at the noon hour. So she had about 12 kids, and we played on wooden keyboards where the keys didn't go down. But
Wow.
we'd sit at our class and we'd kind of play on top of it. But then she would take about 2 minutes with each student, kind of around round robin, so to speak. And but we went through some piano lessons, and some excelled and some didn't, right? But it was that opportunity that was good. And without that, who knows? I might not have studied. I played a little trumpet, a little cornet, actually, when I was in. My brother was older than me, so he taught me cornet when I was really young, and that was kind of cool because I was pretty good at that. But then the piano added another dimension. And since he was so good at the cornet, then, I could be good at piano. It gave me my own ownership. And we're back to our ownership idea, right?
That's
that
right.
personal ownership of the piano. So, but it was interesting that opportunity. I'm grateful. But I had a little experience with due respect to her. She wasn't an experienced piano teacher. She wasn't a trained piano teacher. She was a K-12 music ed instructor. So she thought we should all learn our C-sharp minor, harmonic minor scales and melodic minor scales while we were still learning how to put hands together. So she would have us go through all of these scales, and then she would get so mad at us because we couldn't remember them and we didn't know what they were.
Right.
So she made the whole class stay after school for 2 hours because we hadn't learned these scales. And then the principal came in and broke it up because he had so many parents calling and saying, "Where are my kids?"
I see the seeds of your teacher education
Yes.
programs
So
right
that
here.
that was the impetus, not to study piano, but it was the impetus to train teachers on how to teach piano correctly.
Exactly.
And it's the irony because I'm both grateful to her for giving me the opportunity to have lessons, but then also really grateful that I could see the flaws in that system that said, "Hey, this could be done better," and it would help so many people if it's done better. And I think in that little 8-year-old mind, it planted a seed of, this is good. This isn't. The overall good is there, but
Right.
maybe we can adjust. Maybe we can improve conditions.
Yes.
And that was revelatory to me.
At 8.
Yeah.
At
Mhm.
home, did you have did you have singing in church? Were your parents music makers? Did you come from a musical family? Your brother was playing trumpet cornet.
He was a fine, and my mother played some. She had learned some Chopin. It's interesting. Today we'll introduce our edition of the Chopin E flat Nocturne, and that was her
Ah.
big piece that she had learned.
That's
As
special,
a teenager. So it
Randy.
really is special. I played it for her this week. I said, "Mom, this is our new edition. We just got out of the studio recording it, and so that was very nice for her."
Oh,
But her mother was a very fine pianist in New York and had quite the career going. But she came from a very conservative Presbyterian background. And when she got married to a minister, it wasn't right for the woman to be on stage, and it just killed it right off.
wow.
But as she got older, she went blind, and then she would play Liszt and Beethoven sonatas blind at the piano in her 80s.
Do you remember that as a child?
I
Do you
do. I remember it very well. I was a teenager then. And so, but she loved Chopin waltzes. So I learned a Chopin waltz and we played a recital. She played the first half of the recital. I played the second half of the
Oh
recital.
my gosh.
And
that's
it was
beautiful.
very beautiful moment. Yeah.
So piano is a very deep
Yeah,
family feeling for you. That was your maternal relationships.
I think that's right. It was through maternal mother, maternal grandmother. And then I have an uncle too, who's very academic. And he was head of publications for one of the big universities. But he knew piano repertoire much better than I even know it now. I mean, he had thousands of records, Then he switched to thousands of CDs. He knew every artist. He knew every composer. So he was always inspirational and this is important. Sometimes you have a parent-child relationship and teacher, and we think of that as a triad of power, right? For inspiring the child. But you almost need someone on that outside that says, "Hey, wow, that's a good job. Wow, will you play that for me?"
Right.
It gives you that sense of reflected competence.
Yes. And
And so
community, like
community.
these sort of circles around you where it's not just okay, I'm doing this because my parents have expectations or because this is an extension of my family life, but also those waves of people outside that are extremely knowledgeable
Yes.
who recognized and saw something in you that
Mhm.
that sparks that idea of your identity.
Yes.
And I'm hearing things right now about your childhood of publishing, encyclopedic mind. I'm
Mhm.
looking at one right
Mhm.
now. And passion for music and beauty and what that means with connecting to people.
That's so true. I remember I had a lot of respect for him because he had that huge vocabulary. I learned many words from just having conversation with him as a youngster. And so when you have respect for that outsider who's validating what you're doing, that again gives you that sense that, oh, I can escalate to that next step. Because what I find often in piano communities, especially in smaller cities, there aren't the role models of how good one can be at the piano, for instance. So a child can be in a situation, hey, I'm great. I'm playing jumping jazz cat here, and this is
Right.
really cool, and this is good. But you don't think of how we go to the farther up the aesthetic line. And so he could kind of open that world of saying, this is not only a valid, good path that you're on, but he could share that there's this competence at the higher level that I'm achieving
Yeah.
towards.
That
And that
aspirational.
opens up the aspirational window. Mhm.
That's so exciting. You had this, lots of C sharp harmonic and melodic scales going on at lunchtime
Yeah.
when everyone else was kicking the ball around outside. And where was the connection to a teacher that started sort of cultivating you as a pianist?
It's a good question. I had 1 year with this teacher, and then I did well with piano. I went through a lot of levels all in that first year. So I was set up, and this was again a stroke of luck. The teacher 2 blocks from my house turned out to be the best teacher in the city,
Aha.
but my parents didn't really know it. But she was the nearest by teacher, and so I signed up then for lessons, and I had lessons with her for 12 years.
Wow.
And so she was a good disciplinarian. She was of the Tobias Motet school.
Beautiful.
She studied with Mannheimer. So, but in a way, it's interesting. I didn't pick up a lot of that with her. We could another conversation about how do you learn technique and all. That was my own path, really. But she had the right background, and she was a disciplinarian, and she saw that I had the talent and was able to groom the talent. Back in the community, there was an older young man, a few years older than me, and he was playing the Mephisto Waltz and the Chopin Ballades, and also it was so fun that he and I would always close the recitals. But by having someone playing a little bigger repertoire than I was on, always gave me again that aspirational. I guess we just made a new term, didn't we? Aspirational window, right?
Yes.
That you move into that because you know it's there, and then behind the scenes at competition, he would teach me, about voicing or something that I didn't really know, or some special fingering.
Isn't that something
Isn't
that
cool?
peer
Peer to peer.
to peer? And that's really what so much of it is about, because that's again about identifying.
Yeah.
You're seeing this young person who's doing what you aspire to at just a little further down the
Yeah.
road. And it's exciting.
It is.
And then you're collaborating, and it's, the world outside of adults. And I think we
Yes.
often forget this when we have this sort of teacher-student model. We're not thinking about that student-centered experience, that we learn so much from our peers.
You just brought up a big point that we think we have this. I mean, indeed, it's very important, that teacher-student relationship, right? But that's not just an individual relationship. The fact that student has those peers there.
Right.
So how piano relates to their peers can make a huge difference.
Be sure to listen to the full episode on our website, pianoinspires.com, on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.